Putin Bad News Russia now blames Poland for everything. Russian officials have recently made numerous threats against Poland, suggesting that Moscow sees Warsaw as a major threat to its imperial ambitions. Polish territorial claims in the former Soviet Union have been called aggression by Russian President Vladimir Putin. Such rhetoric masks a genuine concern that Poland is on the verge of becoming a more powerful political force than Russia in Moscow's former spheres of influence, most notably Ukraine and Belarus. The Kremlin is concerned that a major U.S. military presence in Warsaw will further validate Russia's status as a weak military power. After Russia launched its all-out invasion of Ukraine, Poland was among the first countries to offer tangible support in the form of weapons, diplomatic backing, and humanitarian aid. Warsaw played a role in coordinating the international mobilization of military supplies that helped Ukraine repel the Russian invasion and regain lost territory. Poland has vowed to increase its military strength in response to Russian military aggression, and to challenge Russia's regional hegemony. Warsaw has the highest projected defense spending among NATO members, with projections putting it at over 4% of GDP by 2025. In 2022, it was at 2.4% of GDP. In order to create a strong deterrent against Russian aggression, Warsaw plans to double its army size to 300,000 troops over the next decade. U.S. military cannot shut out China and Russia in Alaska. Russia has responded to Poland's ambitions in three ways: by stationing nuclear tactical weapons in Belarus, by sending Wagner mercenaries to the Polish border, and by increasing the intensity of its military threats against Warsaw. In June, Russia started placing tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. The goal is to deter the West from providing any more military aid to Ukraine and Poland by threatening to use nuclear weapons against their military installations. About 250 Wagner mercenaries were sent to Belarus after a mutiny in Russia was put down in June. The Suwalki Corridor, which links NATO members Poland and Lithuania and separates Belarus from the Russian-occupied territory of Kaliningrad on the Baltic Sea, has been the site of joint exercises between the two countries' armed forces. Additionally, military helicopters from Belarus were reported to have strayed into Polish airspace by Warsaw. Wagner saboteurs, according to Polish officials, are helping illegal immigrants from the Middle East cross into Poland, and they may try to enter Poland themselves under false pretenses. Poland has increased its military presence on its borders with Belarus and Kaliningrad in response to these provocations. Kaliningrad, which currently bears the name of a Soviet leader who was complicit in the massacre of thousands of imprisoned Polish officers during World War II, has been recommended for renaming to Kralovic. Putin's accusations that Poland wants to invade and annex parts of Belarus and western Ukraine at the end of July show the growing anger in Moscow. His goals were to drive a wedge between Warsaw and Kyiv by painting Poland as an expansionist power, and to portray Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko as the defender of Belarusian sovereignty, despite his increasing subordination to Russia. Warsaw has always strongly supported the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all nations that freed themselves from Soviet occupation following World War II. Putin warned that if Belarus were to be aggressed against, the Russian Federation would respond using all means at our disposal. Moscow has announced it will increase its forces along its western border despite suffering significant military losses in Ukraine. Russia's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, recently claimed that Washington's anti-Russian policy was being carried out in large part through Poland, and that the country's increasing militarization posed a threat to Russian territory. The Wagner mutiny and rising dissent within the military over the failing war in Ukraine have heightened Moscow's fear of a federal collapse, and Poland has become the Kremlin's primary scapegoat.